we are now going to go to our next presenter, Azade Perin from Rhode Island. The floor is yours, Azade.
Thank you so much. There is always a learning lesson, and I just learned a lot from Susan. But I just would like to share with you guys our experience in the state of Rhode Island and how everything started. So in 2013, we received actually a grant from the NLC and FRAC in the city of Providence. It was the first time that the city was able to work on the expansion of the summer meals program. But it was a perfect storm. Something happened in 2013 where we actually have FRAC providing the funding in the technical assistance with the NLC, and then our local anti-hunger organization, the Rhode Island Food Bank, received this grant also from the Stop and Shop Foundation that was specifically to invest on the expansion of the summer meals program. So that gave us a vast opportunity to try new things. So we didn't know much about the challenges and the reality of the summer meals program at the time. And the first thing that we did was ask. So we assessed the staff that was in the parks, the caregivers, the children, and we went and met with our local sponsors, which is the Parks and Recreation Department in the city of Providence. And we asked the director at the time what were the challenges he saw inside of his program to expand. So taking all of that feedback, we put all of those answers together and realized that, one, there was a stigma related to the summer meals program. People have been talking so much about this is only for the poor and the needy that we needed to first make sure that the message was clear and this was for all children. Two, visibility in the sites was an issue. Like people didn't know why staff was sitting in the coolers. There were no signs that said, free summer meals for children are here. So we designed this campaign, educational and awareness campaign at the city level first, that was created with the purpose of removing the stigma, creating visibility, and then providing education to our community to bring it together. I always say that poverty or need doesn't have a price tag. Many times we use those terms, and parents don't like to feel that they are not doing enough. So at the time, the USDA had come to the state, now to the Department of Education, to work with them and provide them technical assistance for the whole state to actually expand. At the same time, the city of Providence was working on this campaign, and it was the perfect time to bring different partners around the table. So one of the things that we did was to share our common denominator, and you can see in this slide, like we all serve people, from children to adults, right? We wanted to make sure that everybody was included and that we all agree on a collective message. Since that time to present time, in this state, we don't use words like the poor or the needy. We all talk about building healthy kids, healthy communities for a healthy Rhode Island. Now, this city campaign turned into a statewide campaign. And I will talk a little bit more about why this is important. So as you can see here, we did create a collective message, and I'm a believer that when you have all kinds of institutions sending you the same message from all directions, people start to pay attention. When we are all talking the same language, all sending the same message, they will believe the message was made for them. And I think that most of the time when we are talking about developing campaigns or creating awareness, we use our own experience to develop them. There was a very smart guy here that was the director of the Department of Health, Dr. Fine. And I remember him saying once to me, when you are creating a message for your community, you have to make sure it has the colors of your community. He didn't refer to the color of the skin, but he referred to the cultural landscape and the diversity that we all have in our cities and our states, so that when we craft this message, people that receive the message will feel it is for them. So we can never make it alone, and that is how we brought federal partners like the USDA. We had regional partners like the New England Dairy and Food Council, local partners at the state level. 211 in our state is like the brain of operations. All of our sites and times of serving are available whenever someone calls at 211. So they were part of this roundtable, community-based agencies. We went city by city to recruit partners and make sure that that local government at the city level was embedded and invested on this campaign. So some of the things that we asked from them was, please, we don't have funding, and I'm sure that this happens to many of you too. We don't have funding to be paying for a billboard that is $10,000 in 95. So could you please use your city-owned buildings to display materials? Could you please use your school buildings, local libraries, police, fire, any place where we can actually put banners, posters, flyers? And that is how that was our ask. We were not asking for money. We were asking for the local government to join the efforts to make sure that we all build a healthy community, a healthy city, a healthy state. And the response was massive. We started first with our initial campaign didn't have pictures of children. We wanted to make sure that we remove from stigmatizing or associating specific children to the program. And what you have in front of you is actually a facelift that we did in 2017. The initial City of Providence Summer Meals campaign was adopted by the state in 2014. And since then, the state has been promoting that same campaign. We did a facelift last summer. And it has most of the components of the old campaign. This time is like brighter. And we are actually trying to, and this is for all the cities that are thinking of how it is that you can not only increase participation in summer meals, but also your school breakfast and lunch. We are thinking of even taking some of the elements that we have of this campaign and expanding them to breakfast and lunch in the school so that we could create a campaign that is 365 days of the year where people and children know that food is available to them in different locations. And this is a great opportunity. You notice that it's a very long list of partners there. And this is only like a third of all the partners that participated. And something that is very important, I know funding is an issue when we are talking about, how it is that we create a collective campaign, how it is that we even find the funding for events. Believe it or not, many of these partners, you can even say, could you print this for me in your shop? I had 250,000 flyers printed by Blue Cross in their shop, and I will take them because we need them for the schools. So as we are thinking of what other outlets are out there that can help my program grow, think of what resources you have available that can actually help you achieve the goal that you have. Kickoff events and spike events are great tools to bring communities together and celebrate food access in the community. We have involved our local mayor, city councils, and also like from the governor here in Rhode Island, the first gentleman have been a champion for healthy food access. So we had the USDA delegation have come from DC to support our events. Our regional USDA office have come to most of our events. And we make sure that we contact local partners and ask them to bring resources to these events to create a celebration. They just don't look like an ordinary meal delivery site for one day. They look like a big community celebration. And it creates awareness, and it brings the community together, and it also builds trust within the community. I remember one of the things that came out in the assessment was how it is that we know who is preparing the meals or why they want to feed our children. What is inside of that brown bag? Well, having these kind of events and having your local leaders talk about what free summer meals are can shift the mind of those approaching to these little coolers and asking a meal for their kids. Something that we have been working very hard in this state is to increase customer service, and that is because all the work that you and we do at the end lays in the hand of that person handling the meal. If that person doesn't have a smile, is not respectful of those coming to the park, those kids are not coming back again. So this is just an example of a kickoff event and a coverage from the USDA when they were here last year. You see, you can be also creative. There are many games and opportunities that you can bring to your kickoff event that can be sponsored by your local government that you don't even have to pay for. And I moved from being just a city program manager and working at the city level of expansion. And I have been working as a consultant for the Department of Education since 2014. And the growth in our state have been over 52% on the number of meals served. I didn't do it myself. It have been so many people working. We have over 25 sponsors. But this is an example of how a city effort can impact your whole state and go beyond the boundaries of your city and actually touch the life of so many children. The summer meals give us the opportunity to touch so many lives, and we actually can count how many heads, how many lives we have touched. So there is no small effort. Sometimes people say we don't have enough staff. Well, I was one person in my office knocking doors and asking people to provide support. And when we are able to be creative with the resources that we have and we are ready to do whatever it takes, we become advocates for these children. We are the ones that have to make sure our voice is loud enough to tell others that we all need to care of feeding these children. So that will bring me to my next slide. And this is something that we put out there last year, and we have been using to promote. It's part of an infographic I designed. And this is all what we want from people, basically, in the state. We want them to connect to us and to all media resources that they could have so that we can keep broadcasting information about summer meals. We want them to allow us to display our campaign across the state because it's a way to send a collective message. Redirect, when you don't know information about where you can find a meal, just contact 211 so families can find information and empower. In many of our cities and states, we have youth employment programs. And I know somebody talked about it before. Yes, staff becomes an issue when you are trying to open new sites. We can connect to local agencies that can donate the paid time of these children or volunteers to come and work in new sites that we want to expand to. So our goal is to make sure that every child is happy and their bellies are filled. And, you know, it's like there is a purpose in our intervention, and definitely there is a lot of gratification of knowing that collectively we can impact much more and beyond what we're doing. So just an advice for cities that are working in big states. You can all come together and define one collective campaign that will have even much more impact to your state than having separated campaigns, because when the message is collective and it comes from all directions, it will be louder. So thank you so much for your time. I know I took a few extra minutes, but I hope the information that was shared was meaningful to you. Thank you.